Chicago insurance is a very interesting thing. A lot of people think insurance is a scam. Some people think it's fabulous. I know a lot of wealthy people with a lot of real estate exposure that could say they could never live without the protection of insurance, and that it helps them sleep better at night. And I think that's the thing, right? The more wealthy you become, the more insurance you need, because these personal injury attorneys and attorneys are just looking for a reason to sue you. They know that you have money, equity in properties, cash in the bank, stocks, things of those sorts. And I mean, everywhere you look in Chicago, whether it be on the bus, on the side of the bus, you see a personal injury attorney advertisement, slip and fall, call us now. Or every billboard you drive by on the highway, have you been injured? Car accident. Hey, give us a call, right? When you amass wealth, particularly in real estate, you want to make sure that you have liability protection and umbrella policy to cover at least your net worth, so that these injury attorneys and other attorneys can't access the equity in your property. How frustrating. I'm in the middle of a video. How crazy would it be if you spent all this time amassing wealth, right? Like, let's say you got a couple $1,000,000 in equity in property, and all of a sudden you're driving your car and you end up hitting somebody, they get a back injury, they hire a personal injury attorney, you get sued for a couple $1,000,000 because they can't work for the rest of their lives. And then you lose that wealth just like that. That's a pretty crazy thing to think about. And insurance by property can get expensive, but overall umbrella policy protection that way doesn't tend to be too expensive, because each individual property has its own liability, right? So there might be $100,000 or $300,000 liability limit on that particular property, but then let's say you get an umbrella policy that sits over your vehicles and all the real estate you own. Let's say you get a $10 million umbrella policy. That's not going to be like too expensive for that much coverage. So again, insurance is such an interesting thing because you're paying for something that you're not sure is going to happen. Like, are you 100% positive that there's going to be an accident in your life where you do need to file an insurance claim? No. A lot of people go through insurance their whole entire lives without filing an insurance claim. And then the insurance company just profits a couple $100,000 off of them, and the insurance company is ultra happy, and it's great. There's other people that file a $500,000 claim on their first year because their house burned down, right? There's obviously so many different circumstances, and you never really know if something is going to happen or when it's going to happen. Now, the one thing that is interesting, insurance, right? You're always insuring for the unknown. Life insurance, everybody will die with 100% certainty. Life insurance is interesting because you can insure, you know you're going to die, you just don't know when you're going to die. So if you get like a whole life policy, that's with you through life. A term obviously expires. So I guess life insurance is kind of the exception to the unknown. Yes, you do know you're going to die, so life insurance can be beneficial there. But anyways, am I a massive fan of life insurance? No, right? I'm a really big believer in real estate. Obviously, you can make a lot of money in the stock market, and real estate has been mine and my family's path to wealth, and I think it's going to continue to be that way. I think real estate is an extremely valuable asset. I do think at some point PE or institutional money, for that matter, is going to eat up all the real estate, and nobody's going to ever be able to buy real estate again unless they're a couple generations in. So that brings up a very interesting point. Unless you go to a tertiary market where things are super small. My family's actually from a tertiary market, pretty small area, Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and real estate's still pretty cheap up there. But it has brought my family a lot of opportunity that we otherwise wouldn't have had, being in a primary market, competing with institutional money, tons of syndications, PE, etc. So you can, wherever you look, there's a lot of opportunities within there. You gotta find them. I think having a scarcity mindset is not the right approach to life. One thing I've actually learned recently is finding the beauty in the struggle and finding the beauty in the monotony of the everyday life, right? So what I mean by that is obviously doing hard things is incredible because it's the most rewarding, right? And I think a lot of people forget that. I mean, um, I got a marathon coming up here on Sunday. I'm super excited about it, but the marathon's going to be, I think, particularly easy. Then I'm going to plan on running a 50-mile race, so that'll be a little bit more difficult. But I just want to climb the ladder of hard things because, I mean, life is boring and just like you got to stay busy and stay focused and stay motivated. So that's one thing that I've been focusing on lately is like doing hard things. There's a potential possibility that I go to law school as well. I would say, like, I'm not sure out of the general population how many people graduate law school. It's kind of like the 1% thing, right? Like, I'm in the Army. I don't know, 1% of people ever join the military. 1% of people ever join law school. 1% of people run a marathon. 1% of people do triathlons. So I'm trying to do like all these things that like 1% of people do just to kind of separate myself because I think, again, when you stack these wins under your belt, you get a lot of confidence and satisfaction. Plus, it keeps you alive. So that's kind of interesting. And then just the monotony of everyday life and doing the same thing over and over and over again sometimes can get very boring. But it's a man's purpose to struggle. If you haven't read the book, it's by Viktor Frankl. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. It's a very interesting book that kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And of course, I've always known that like to do hard things is incredible. And if you go back when I was younger, I had a different perspective on hard things back then than I do now. And Man's Search for Meaning, reading this book now, I'm 27 years old. If I would have read it 10 years ago, of course it would have had a different effect because my lens is different and your perceptions are different over time. So I think you learn the lessons you need to at the right moment. But yeah, so those are just kind of a couple of things tied in with insurance. You got insurance in there, and then you got a little bit of kind of life lessons that I'm learning and going through right now. So I don't know. I hope that this video could be helpful for somebody. Yeah, and I hope you have a great day, evening, morning, whatever it is for you. Cheers.